back in March of 2024, I said that I ended up with 38 members, active members, right? Because everybody else dropped out. So today we stand with 103 members for the chamber. If you
Almost
ask me
triple.
what, yeah, if you
Yeah.
ask me what I'm focused on now is quality versus quantity. I want those 103 members to support them, to give them the tools, the resources necessary to stay in business, number one, because that's the challenge for every entrepreneur, every small business owner today, right? To stay in business. But the bigger vision is that they open up a second, and you can expand and you can grow and pass it on to the children if that's what they choose to do. So follow on the coaster. But the idea is that you stay in business and you grow. So that's the focus here.
Welcome to Uptown Voices. From Harlem to the Heights to the northern tip of Inwood, we're here to celebrate our people and together seek solutions for the difficult issues we're all confronting as neighbors. Regardless of what hood you represent, we share the same goal, creating the best community we can, somewhere to enjoy, where we can build our lives and raise our children. We want to thank 181 Cabrini, located on the corner of 181st Street and Cabrini Boulevard, for its generous support for this podcast. It's your neighborhood bistro just steps away from the North Walk of the GWB. Stay tuned for a discount code that you can mention to your bartender or server the next time you visit the restaurant.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uptown Voices. We're so glad to have you here. Led Black is here with us. Led, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the podcast. Show us that love.
That's right. And today we have a really impressive guest, somebody who is crucial to the development of this community, crucial to the businesses in this community. It's Jackie Aleman. She is the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Washington Heights and Inwood. Jackie, thanks for being here. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastically well. Looking forward to this new year. I know most of us had a tough 2025, but if we don't have challenges, we don't know the difference between right and wrong. We don't know how to appreciate the good things that come to us, right?
That's right. It's right. You know, we've had a tough year, but like you said, when you know the bad, you can also appreciate the good. And so that's why, I am so appreciative that you're here, and I'm so appreciative that you're leading this neighborhood institution, which I'll say feels like a reinvigorated, a more muscular institution than I've seen previously. So Jackie, tell us a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce and what its role is here in Washington Heights, and how have things changed for you in the last few months?
Oh my God. First of all, I'd like to thank you and Lad for inviting me to your show. I watch it all the time and I'm
Thank you.
impressed for the work that you guys are doing in our community.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes when I see some of your show, I get emotional because I know what it is firsthand to give up your time to showcase the issues that affect us on a daily basis. And the only way that we can overcome those issues and tackle them and kind of get rid of them is by doing it together. So thank you very much for inviting me. As you said, I am the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Washington Heights and Inwood. And for me, it's a true honor because, like I tell my colleagues and my friends, I am serving my community. I am serving my friends, the people that I grew up with, because my family had bodegas and supermarkets in the Heights. So for me, it's easy to do, right? Because I know mostly everyone, and those that I don't know, I get to know to the events that I go to and I attend, and for the people that I collaborate and participate with. The chamber has been around since 1921. It's not something that I
Wow.
invented. It's not something that I created. It's something that I happen to be elected to lead an organization such as the chamber. And for me, as I said, it's an honor because I get to contribute to the betterment of Washington Heights and with and abroad because we don't turn We don't turn away anyone that wants to become a member. It doesn't matter where you live, as long as you are a New York City resident.
Wow, so 1921, that's incredible. I think that makes you one of the oldest chambers of commerce probably in the United States.
Yeah.
My little historical digging showed that the first chamber of commerce originated right here in New York City, downtown. Incredible that you're leading up such a venerable and longstanding institution for the businesses of Washington Heights. Tell me, what are the kind of businesses that are members or participants in the Chamber of Commerce? Is it anybody that has a business, or who can be a?
First of all, there are no requirements for me to member of the chamber because we also have residents that are members. People that want to participate in the improvement of our community and that want to have a voice. That's one of the benefits of our chamber is that we don't turn away anyone. You want to contribute, you want to be part of, we welcome you. But we are focused on the small business, on the mom and pop shops. And we have my God, now we are over 100 members and we have
Wow.
an array of businesses. I can tell you from grocery stores, restaurants, T-Mobile, Presbyterian, Columbia, Yeshiva University, Los Amigos Restaurant, Mejia Tirado Accounting Services. We have cleaning services. We have bakeries. We have cafes, Amores Cafe, right on 215 when they have that location. We have doctors, we have health centers, we have clinics. I mean, it's such a vast list and it's an eclectic list. I'm going to call it that. And people help each other and interact. We encourage that. One of the things that we created in order to get the members to interact more with one another is a discount exchange program, right? So they swap discounts with one another, and that helps improve business sales. It helps network, and it also kind of binds them together with a solid rivalry for going forward and to be stronger.
And you also have one other kind of business, production companies. Our production company is a member. We joined last year, and we're really excited to be a member and to take advantage of all of the opportunities that you are offering to businesses. So tell us, just before we move on to anything else, how do businesses or individuals become members? How much does it cost? Tell us a little bit about that, because I know the answer and I find it to be quite approachable.
The fee is paid on a yearly basis. It's only one fund. So we have for individuals, whether you're a resident or just an entrepreneur starting off, it's $100 a year. And for not for profits, it's $200 a year. For profits corporation, it's $250. Bigger institutions like the yeshivas of the world, the Presby, Columbia University, YMCA, and so on, it's $1,500. So you say, why the difference so much and why the gap in cost? Well, the big guys kind of support the little guy. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You
That's
take them
right.
by the hand, they're contributing. However, the people that have the most help the ones that don't have as much. And that's how we structure our here.
And so if I want to become a member, where do I go? What's the website? What do I do?
You can go to the Chamber of Commerce website, which is www. Let me look at it. WadiChamber.com. And there you click on membership. It's a simple form. You put in your name, your address, your phone number, and the method of payment, and that's what it is.
And Jackie, one thing what I find interesting that you're so emblematic of a lot of the guests that we have here, right? That it almost seems like there's this incredible synergy between who you are and what you do, right? And the fact that you bring, this decades of experience on the other side, like being the business that didn't get help, that had to figure it out, and now you're extending that to the other business. I think that's beautiful, and I think that's why you're here today. But can you tell us some of the unique challenges of your businesses and what's unique to them as Uptown businesses? What are the hurdles that they have and the setbacks and the challenges?
Well, I am glad that you asked that question because a lot of people have asked me, do you own a business here? Absolutely. My office is on 4470 Broadway on the second floor. I provide expediting construction consulting services. What pains my members. What hurts you hurts me. I
Mm,
live by example. You know, I have been burdened by all the economical changes and all the financial changes that this new administration has brought in. Not to get into politics, whether it's good or bad, but I've also been affected. I've been affected by the lack of grants. I've been affected by the lack of funding. I've been affected by not being able to afford to pay an accountant or not being able to afford to pay someone that does my marketing. Those are the things that mainly hurt a small business, someone that wants to grow. So when you come to the team, you find the support in this family where everyone has a specialty and everyone has the same vision and mission. We want to help each other because we know that we become stronger by doing it together. So I'm a perfect example of that. So I can speak a lot to that. As I said, what pains me, I know that it pains everyone else.
yeah, and it's funny because one of my favorite restaurants, Flor de Mayo Uptown, recently closed, right? And again, I can't help that I think the city kind of hurt that place because it took them a long time to get the liquor license so they could sell nutcrackers. That's what they're famous for, right? So when you go to Flor de Mayo, you just don't want fried rice. You also want the nutcracker. And I think not having the liquor license for a few months really hurt them. And so how do you do that? How do you help your members challenge, kind of navigate that system because it's so opaque.
Well, let me just say that the same feeling that you felt when Joe DiMaggio went out of business, that's probably the same feeling that I felt when Carol Hodges had to give up her location at 215 in Barker, Amores Cafe, which was an icon in our community. You
That's
want to be
right.
close to Dominican Republic, you go in there and have your coffee, you have your sandwiches, and you have all your typical dishes, right? With Carol and my kids running around the restaurant. It killed me when Carol had to close the door. So we had a conversation, and Carol decided that she was going to continue in this system, running it out of her apartment. And what we do at the chamber to support people like Carol Hodges is that we, when we have an event, we bring you in, we hire you, we promote you on our social media, on our pages, on our newsletter. We refer you. I get a lot of calls for referral. I need a catering service. Can you send me one of your members? And I do. When we have our own networking event, you came to our holiday party. It was at a member training. And that's what we do. We go around rotating so everyone can rip from the benefits, if you will, you know?
Yeah, I really loved that holiday party. It was my first time in person interacting with other members of the chamber. I was a little bit nervous at first because I didn't know what to expect. You never know when you join an organization, like who are the people there. But I will say that from my personal experience, the people, everybody that I met there was very warm. They were very welcoming, very friendly. I thought that the venue itself was really interesting. And I can see how I would have just walked by it without having had the opportunity to actually go in there because it's a fairly small front door and it doesn't have a lot of signage. But once you go in, it's a really neat space for organizations and people that they can rent out and have their events there. So that was very cool. And I got to say that the people that I met there were really really kind. So tell me, what are some of the other networking events that you guys have? And is there like a big annual event that you guys host that people, businesses, or interested individuals can participate in?
Absolutely. In May, we're going to have our annual policy breakfast. It's the biggest event of the year. A lot of people may defer because now that calling I'm in celebration, the biggest event for the chamber. But to me, is our annual policy breakfast. And I'll tell you why. It's because at that event, I ensure that we get a different perspective from elected officials and directors of city agencies where the businesses can actually go up to them and ask them that question that's been burning inside. Ask them directly, why do we losing parking spots, for example, right? We have Idani's, the commissioner, he was the commissioner, come on to the policy breakfast, and you were able to talk to him and ask him directly. Adriano Espaillat, our congressman, has been to our policy breakfast. The commissioner of the Liquor Authority has been to our policy breakfast. The commissioner of small businesses and so on. For me, the CEO and the director of many organizations that are in this neighborhood, that normally you probably see them on TV or see them from far away, but at our annual policy breakfast, they sit right next to you. And that's the difference. And the atmosphere, I'm going to say that it's almost like the holiday party. Everyone, it's like a brotherhood, if you will. And that's what I envision for the chamber, where you don't feel prohibited or restricted to go up to anyone and ask them the hard questions. Because if we're all part of this fabric, right? We're supposed to talk to each other. We're supposed to collaborate. We're supposed to make it better together.
I love that, Jackie, and I really want to commend you also for not shunning certain businesses and being forward thinking and open minded, right? Because I'm referring to the Happy Monkey event that you coordinated, that I was able to interview one of the owners, my good friend Vladimir Batista, and that's a cannabis store, right? It's a legal dispensary on Dykeman in a historic spot, because that's what Dykeman Electronics was, right? And you could have been like, marijuana is bad, but instead you said, no, we're gonna highlight them, we're gonna invite the community in, we're gonna record it, we're gonna do this big thing for them. Why? That's so beautiful, and I commend you on it. But why stick your nose out like that? Why? No, because again, sometimes I'm Dominican, right? Like old school Dominicans don't they look at marijuana like it's like heroin, right? So for my mother, there's no difference between marijuana and manteca, right? Like that's a very very smart position for you to take. Why is that important to you, and why go out on a limb when you don't really have to?
Let me tell you something. Vladimir to me is an example. It's a perfect example. And he's an awesome father. And I'll tell you one. If you ask me personally what I think, I don't judge people for where they came or they've done. I judge it for who you are to me. That's what we mean to me personally. And to the chamber, we celebrate when you do that. We celebrate you as a business. We support you as a business. We support you as an individual. That is established business here. It's a legal business. Not legal by my standard, legal by the powers that be, right? By the agencies. He has all its credentials. They're very strict when you go in there. And I tell you, I go in there and I see how they work and I see how they function. And if I see anything that needs his attention, we'll call him up and say, we have that kind of relationship, if you will. But he's also an employer in this community. You
Right,
understand? He's in business because this community is consuming what he's selling.
right,
So
right.
who am I to shine away from that? And in addition to that, if we look at it from the human perspective of it, he's demonstrated leadership
For
that
sure.
anyone here in this community that knows him, that when he was young, when he was a child, his youth years, if you will, he's overcome a lot.
That's right.
And he is an honorable businessman today. He turned his life around. And that, to me, is to be commended and celebrated. And if he can turn someone else's life around by being an example, so be it. And I will support that.
That's beautiful, and I couldn't agree more. Like I think Vladimir and Ramon, they're both good friends of mine. I seen where they went to where they're at now, and to have a legal dispensary again. But again, I don't want to. I want to underscore how brave that is of you, though, right? Like because again, our community has a stigma, so some tecato or whatever, and you didn't do that, and I really want to commend you for saying, hey, look, nah, ese mi hermanito, estamos juntos. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we could be very funny with each other. And I'm glad you set an example. So again, you definitely deserve that commendation.
And let me just add that sometimes it's ignorance. Sometimes, as humans, we follow other people's narratives and conversations, and we don't even know what it means. So until someone explains it to you, I am sure that sometime in your life it has happened to you. I know it's happened to me. We have those blackout moments, as I call them, but who am I to judge? Because I could be standing here and thinking that my life is perfect, and you can be on the other side of this camera and say, who does you think you is? So I can't control that. I can't control what I think and what I do and say. That I am responsible for. But I can control other people's thoughts. And I think it all goes on education. The more we talk about it, the more people get to know it and the more people get to accept it. He is a part of the community.
And
For sure.
it's also, it should be noted that actually launching any business, whether it's mom and pop or anything, a startup or whatever the case may be, is challenging. It's got a lot of challenges. Launching a legal cannabis dispensary has even more challenges. But I think, as being a person who's also launching my own business here in the neighborhood, I felt very comforted meeting you, because it was clear to me the amount of care, dedication, and just giving of yourself, your love that you give to the people that are the businesses that are in this community. I felt that, and I still do. You've got a huge heart, so I think that that's also to be commended and recognized. I wanted to ask you about the chamber itself. How has the chamber been evolving? Have you had challenges that you've had to overcome? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, let's start from the beginning. I was elected president in March 2024. My initial thought was like, oh my God, what am I getting into? But as days passed, I started looking at things and say, okay, we need to assess what's going on from today on. I don't care what happened in the past. So we started looking at the membership list, started purging, right? People did not come back, they dropped out, and so on. At the end of the day, we ended up with 38 members. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. That was tough for
Wow.
me to
Wow.
swallow. Then as the day go on, then we identify, my God, we lost our 501c3 status. I said, what do we do? Right? Now we're going to have to be taxed as a corporation because that's one of the disadvantages when you lose your 501c3 status, right? And let's not talk about the loss of reputation and all that kind of stuff, right? So I had to create a list of what priorities were. At moments glance, it seemed like everything is a priority. I had to really, really discipline myself and say, okay, let's do this. And I started working arduously at getting our 501c. And we did in December. Took me a year or
Nice.
so, but I
Congratulations.
didn't give up.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I get
Hey,
chills. I get chills hearing that.
yeah. And to add, back in March of 2024, I said that I ended up with 38 members, active members, right? Because everybody else dropped out. So today we stand with 103 members for the chamber. If you
Almost
ask me,
triple.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
ask me what I'm focused on now is quality versus quantity. I want those 103 members to support them, to give them the tools, the resources necessary to stay in business, number one, because that's the challenge for every entrepreneur, every
Yeah.
small business owner today, right? To stay in
Yes.
business. But the bigger vision is that they open up a second, that you can expand and you can grow and pass it on to the children if that's what they choose to do. So follow on the step. But the idea is that you stay in business and grow. So that's the focus here. New members will always be welcome. But for me, I want you to stay in business.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I want us to stay in business too. And to thrive. I want us all to thrive, and I want us all to make money and be able to support our families. But I will also say that the people that the businesses that are participating, you also now have a very robust and active board. And so can you tell me a little bit about the board and how you interact with the board, and what are some of the plans that the board is coming up with so that the membership can benefit, but also to include the membership in this really interesting time of growth?
Well, let me just say that our board is very diverse. There's 19 of us. We have as vice president Anthony Field, the vice president of Puchima University. We also have on the board Mike Phillipson, the CEO of United Palace. They're also a member. We also have Roico Production, another production company. Jorge Taveras, you know him as Tuto, right? They just finished producing Cuentos con Santa at the United Palace, which is a huge hit. We have Sandra Rodriguez from Highland Residential. We have Bruce Robertson, Lynn Van Duken from Campus Brokers. We have Sandra Harris from Presbyterian, Julio Batista from Columbia University. So you have Aaron Sims, and he will kill me if I forget to mention. Yes, Aaron Sims from Inwood Artworks. Yes. We have Radio Hotel on our board. We have FDLA, Albania Rosario, fashion.
Albania. Yeah, she's a really cool person.
And the list goes on and on and on. Okay, so we have 19 members. What do we do? First of all, we work very closely together because we all understand what the vision and the mission is. That was one of the things that we did as a collaborative, was to define the vision and define the mission. And once we nailed that down, we were all in sync, okay? In our last policy breakfast, this last May, we introduced to our community a new training developed by the Civil University with our collaboration, basic training for AI. Because talking to our members, we identified a need that in people in our community, particularly small businesses, are staying behind in trends and technology. So I sat with John Greenfield, our vice president, and I said, John, she was very close to us. We're neighbors, we're partners, we're collaborators. Why don't we do this? And I pitched the idea. And John said, well, let me talk to my team and see what we can do. So at the end of the day, I ended up with my own avatar. And now we have an AI, of course, $75 to non-members because one of the caveats was that I required that they open it to the community, and $50 for the member. You can take it from any device, your computer, your phone. You take it at your own pace. 14 lessons, and you get a certificate from Yeshiva at the end of the training. Now,
that's amazing.
You tell me, how would you get a certificate anytime from Yeshiva University for $50 or $75?
That's awesome. I mean,
that's awesome.
Say what you will about whether or not AI is good or bad. I think it's important for us to understand it. Like I think that learning about it and learning how it works is extremely important, and making this available to the community at this price point and with a certificate. That is so important, because certificates that you can put on your resume, that you can tell people, I have studied this at Yeshiva University, which is a accredited, well-known, established place, that is really a huge thing. So it goes beyond just like networking. It goes beyond, I mean, not that networking is not important. It's very important, but it goes beyond networking. It goes beyond just doing promotions, which again are very important. You need help in your promotions. It's education. I love that, and I hope that there's more of that down the pike.
Yeah,
go ahead,
Jackie. No, go ahead, Jackie. Go ahead. Finish. Finish.
Let me add that I review a lot of documents, and I find it tremendous. What used to take me 2 and 3 decades is not about the time. Time that I can use to do other things. And you know, when people tell me, why should I do that workshop? Why should I take that training? And I said, we have 10 minutes next week. Why don't you come to my office and I'll show you? And I sit there and I show them. And they're like, oh my God. And I said, that was exactly my initial thought of that. So I invite everyone to take a chance, take a basic course. When I started looking into what the course was or what Yeshiva had developed for us, usually if you take one at MIT or any of those universities, even if you learning or Forte, that most of the time they've been doing workshops and training online, but the basic training is up there. It's about 1,500 plus. So it's very expensive. You go out on the open market. Take a chance and take the course with us. All you have to do is go online and to our website and purchase a program.
I definitely will.
That's mind blowing, Jackie. I want to really, again, that's amazing. And one of my questions is, like Latinos in general, and I think Dominicans in particular, we could be very suspicious of like what's a chamber of commerce. Like we're not used to someone coming and helping us. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times, right? What is the pitch that you make to them, like to get them on board? How do you say, hey, look, this is for the betterment? Like, how do you, like, I understand everything you're saying, but how do you get a businessman or a businesswoman that's kind of suspicious and doesn't really trust you, they don't know you? How do you break through?
For me, it's simple. I let the other members speak for themselves. I invite you to attend one of our networking events, and the other members sell the program. Of course, I recruit when I go to events and so on, but I don't know. It's just something that comes about natural. Um, I, I really can't pinpoint what it is that I say or do. But I think now the chamber sells itself. No, you see, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. Every month we select one member and we feature them on our website. We also have a YouTube channel where we feature them as well. We blast it on LinkedIn, on other social media, and the members themselves talk about what they do, how they came to have that idea, how the business was developed, and what the chamber has done for them, and what it means to them to be a member of the chamber. So they talk about it. The lived on experience, and I think that helps us tremendously to recruit other members. For example, this month we have the founder and owner of Naturtis. It's a Turkish shop on Sherman Avenue.
Yep.
I don't know if you've been to that place, but that place is
I've passed by it.
I've been there, yeah.
that place is amazing. We also had Jorge Taveras talk about this book 2 months ago. In December, we have Mike Fiddleston, the CEO of United Palace, because these are the people that make the places run.
Right.
For example, everybody knows United Palace, but the United Palace doesn't run itself.
That's right.
It's not a self-propelled machine. There's a Mike Fiddleston back there pulling the
That's right.
strings and making sure that when you walk through those doors, you're entertained and that you get your money's worth for that show and that you get quality. Because that theater right there is our Radio City of Washington Heights and England. So he understands what that means to this community. And who better than to talk about that than Mike? I
Good
urge
point.
you, and I really invite you to take a look at the YouTube channel so you can see some of my past interviews. What we do is that once every 3 months, we rent a studio at Noma and we record a few interviews, and that's how we package them and we promote them. Because who better than you to tell your own story?
That's so
I
true.
found it
And
very
shout out,
helpful to go to. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
Len.
No, go ahead. Tommy, finish off, brother. Go ahead.
All right, no, I was just going to say, I find it really helpful. Before I went to the holiday mixer, I did go to the your YouTube channel, and I watched, I think, almost all of the interviews there. But a lot of the people that were at the mixer, I felt like I already knew them because I had seen their videos, and I was able to. It really helped me in the networking, so I was able to say, "Oh, you're the owner of such and such. I watched your video," and we were able to really connect that way. So I do encourage everybody to go to the YouTube channel for the Chamber of Commerce of Washington Heights and Inwood.
Yeah, and then what I want to say, shout out to Mike Fiddleston. I love Mike Fiddleston. That's my good friend, my brother at United Palace. And I think in a lot of ways, Jackie, like, he's the kind of person that reminds me of a person like you, in a sense that, like, a person that just, who they are and what they do are one and the same. And he opens doors just like you open doors. And I think when you were talking earlier, I think I think one of the reasons of the success is really you, though, right? You bring this infectious energy. It's like to meet you is to like you because you're just positive. So I think you are the cause of this kind of renaissance that's happening there. But because it is an old institution that's been around forever, what are some of those challenges to kind of redefine it for new times? What are the things that you come across that you're like, oh, this is tough, or this is not tough, or you don't even think about that, you just plow forward?
I don't think about that because you're always going to have challenges no matter what you do. I mean, think about your own household. You have challenges with your children, with your wife, with your mother-in-law. It's always problems. It's always issues. It's just how you confront them. It's just how you look at them. To me, they're not problems. To me, they're situations that in my opinion. That's all.
Mm.
If I look at it as a problem, it will become a problem because then I'm going to start thinking, oh my God, I have a problem. Instead of taking that energy and putting it into the solution. Inside, so I
Right.
redirect it and I say, oh, this requires my attention. And I give it my attention. But I give it my attention to resolve it. I don't want to see it. At least not even for 5 or 10 years.
So Jackie, what are your
And
what are
then,
you
I'm
what
sorry,
go
I'm
ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead, Jackie.
I was going to say that our board is very supportive of one another, and that helps a lot because when anyone identifies that there's something that requires attention, we all come together and resolve it. And that helps me out a lot. I'm not alone out there. I'm not, in a place that I'm just resolving things and finding things to this is an effort. Uh, everyone.
One of the
That's
things that
amazing.
I really also appreciated, and that surprised me. Okay, this surprised me, and I don't know if it was fair for me to go in with these preconceived notions, but I was concerned about whether or not I would fit in to this group. I was concerned that maybe it was going to skew an age group that was older than me, or maybe it was going to skew more Dominican and I'm Mexican American, not Dominican American, or maybe it was going to skew, you know, differently. But when I looked into it and when I actually attended the event, one of the things that really struck me was that it really represents the community, the neighborhood, by ethnicities, represents everybody. Religions, it represents everybody. Age groups, that's the one that I was also kind of like concerned about. It represents everybody, and what I really appreciated about that, it wasn't all young people or it wasn't all some other type. It was this real intergenerational situation, and I think that that's powerful because you get to see the experience of people who were here before you and learn from that as a younger like entrepreneur, and that the older generation can learn some of the tips that the younger people bring to the table. So for anybody who's like concerned about how this group is composed of, I think that this like representation of like the neighborhood in such a comprehensive way is powerful. How do you see it when you see the older, more established businesses or the older, more established members interacting with the younger, newer businesses or the younger members?
We have an open door policy. I already said that, right? And that brings us variety. That brings us different kind of people with different backgrounds, different ethnicity. I don't direct. I don't select. You know, I don't push you away because whatever reason it might seem to me good enough to reject you. No, we have an open door policy. You need our support here, whether you're a member or not. I get a lot of people in my office sometimes come in, I need you to read this letter because they can't speak the language. I'm not going to say no. I have the time. Give me a minute if I can do it right away. And in addition to that, you never know who our next elected official will be in 5, 10 years. It could be one of those youngsters that walk in through that door to want to wear a networking event. There's a two there's a two-sided story to this. The old can learn what the new is doing and improve whatever it is that we've been doing. And the younger generation can learn from the older members and mix that together and we create perfection within our world. So I will maintain an open door policy. It's not for me to reject anyone. We need help as a group, and if we can provide it in whatever capacity, then we will.
Jackie, I mean, that's amazing, the kind of effort. Like, So what is a typical day? How much time do you spend? Because you have to like this is an everyday thing, right? Like this has to be so all consuming. How do you run a business and then run the business of the businesses? How do you do all that? What do you do to stay sane? How does that work?
Well, it's all about time management. I can tell you this. I get asked that question all the time. It's time management. I get home late, but I also have time for myself. For me personally, I'm not talking about being with family. I'm talking about Jackie's time. And when I set apart that time, nothing comes you know, nothing can penetrate that. I can tell you that much. It's all about creating time for yourself so you can continue being fulfilled. I find that a lot of people spend time redirecting their energy outward instead of inward. So I try to create a balance where I can still do what I love, which is to help others. However, I'm still find that time to give me pleasure. And once I have that balance, everything else is possible in a daily life.
Led, I think now it's time to take a short pause so that we can pay some of the bills. We are lucky to have a great sponsor, 181 Cabrini. It's our neighborhood bistro. Both Led and I are just steps away from 181 Cabrini, and we love it. 181 Cabrini is located right there on that corner of 181 and Cabrini, just steps away.
181 and Cabrini.
Just steps away from the bridge. So, yeah, I love it. Led, you and I were there the other night.
Yeah, and we also met there for the first time. You and I, the first time we met, we had like lunch there, and it's my local bar now. Like since you and I both live like right around. It's my local bar. I spend a lot of time there. James Lee, the owner, is just an incredible restaurateur. Right, I think he's a great guy. He's super funny, but like the food is on point. So please hit up 181 Cabrini. It is really one of my favorite spots. 181 Cabrini, pull up. That's my spot. Show them love and tip.
And Jackie, what is one thing that you're most excited about in the new year? Being that we're in that time now where we're looking and making plans, what's the one thing that you're so looking forward to?
Oh my God, we are working on so many new partnerships now. So I have been meeting the LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce, right? So because through all my travels and conversations with members and neighborhood and friends, I've realized that the LGBTQ community here in Washington Heights doesn't have representation. So why not? They're members of our community.
That's right.
Why exclude anyone for that matter? We'll be talking about this throughout this hour, right? That I have an open door policy. Well, guess what? We're going to have an event where the LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce and the Washington Heights Chamber of Commerce is going to collaborate on providing that networking event. We are thinking of making, not giving away too much, but like the marketplace where businesses can come out, display their product, showcase their talent, sell whatever it is that they're selling, but that the LGBTQ community can also see and feel and be part of,
That's beautiful.
which the support is not there now. So why not be the pioneers to do this and continue to do it? Because, like I said, and I will keep saying this, we're all in this together.
Beautiful.
That's amazing.
I love that.
And I think that's true. I think part of having, sometimes it's not good enough to just have an open door policy. Sometimes you need to have a sign outside of your door that says you're welcome here.
Yeah. Another thing, let me just say another initiative that we started at the end of 2025. It's mentoring and empowering our members that provide good and services, help them create their own workshop to be in front of the public and sell what they sell and share what they know. And what better way to do it than in your own backyard and your own community? So we have the likes of Roberto Franco, who's an insurance broker. He's done a couple of workshops. We have Gladys Rodriguez, who is a tax expert. She's also done that. We have had help from the Legal Aid Society. We have had help from Sandra Benedon, who was a long-time CEO of the East Harlem Improvement Corporation, from out to do business plan workshop. So we're doing all these initiatives, but we're definitely going to focus in 2026 on getting the participation of more members and empower them to do their own workshops. Because that's the only way that you're going to improve sales is by people knowing what you do and what you do and what you sell.
That's really, really good. I think that's like I agree with you that the importance of that. In the beginning, when you were talking about the policy breakfast, and I think that the policy breakfast sounds like an amazing event. But what other kinds of how do you guys work more regularly with the different sort of government entities like the community board and the small business solutions office and the bid? Do you guys work closely with those other groups that are here providing resources?
Yeah, we do referral exchange. If there is a service that Isidro Medina over at the bid can provide that we don't, we refer them. And we do so with other agencies and entities. We work very closely with the Office of Manny de los Santos, right? In Carmen de la Rosa. We collaborate on events. We fund sometimes a portion of the event where the community gets to enjoy the benefits or enjoy the knowledge that they are providing. For example, when Miramar, that new building at the foot of 207 was opening up, we were there helping the residents of this community fill out applications so they can participate in the lottery to get apartments in those buildings. And we'll continue to do so. The turkey drive that Carmen had at United Palace, we were there distributing food. We were there providing donations for the residents as well. When Maggie has an event, we also get called upon and we're there as well. You know, when Sandra Harris has an event that required the participation of businesses or residents, she calls me and she says, I need you to help me promote this. Hispanic Federation, who recently we've been working with, just reached out yesterday. They're going to be offering Apple computer workshops and training at CUNY over at 200 Broadway in those facilities. We're also working with them to help the community get the word out to the community for those training. A lot of times, what I do is that I I promote the event by saying I will be there taking the class too. Come hang out with me, and believe it or not, that works. And I will sit there and take it with you. I don't have a problem with that because you know what? I figured that if I have the time, I do it. It doesn't cost me anything. And what's the work that can do it? I learned something new. I'm all for that.
And you also have a powerful newsletter that you put out I think it's every week, and that's a great way to highlight and inform the public as well. Beyond social media, you can be if anybody's in the community and wants to have access to the information, the newsletter is a very powerful tool.
Yes. Let me just say that I have to give a shout out to Jonathan Ullman, who is our graphics consultant. He does a fantastic job putting our newsletter together twice a month and also upkeeping our website. So, John, thank you. But yeah, it is. And it continues to improve, you know, because every day we have other needs. Our membership has needs as well that we try to meet. And if not, you know, we grow into things. We just like every other business, if the chamber needs to expand to its services or how we do things, we're open to that as well. Because our primary goal is to be the voice of the small business in the community and to give you that outlet that normally you would not. You can have a voice through us.
It's funny because you just mentioned John Ullman and he was just calling me right now. We had dinner the other day. So shout out to my brother, John Ullman.
Well, look, I appreciate that you're here. I am also looking forward to being a member, to participating in your events. But I want to give you sort of the last word. Let our viewers know how they can connect with you, how they can join the chamber, how they can sign up for the for the newsletter, where do they need to go? What are all the addresses, all the stuff, all the things?
Okay. Our website is wahichamber.com. You can go on our website to join and to see the members benefits and to see all we have to offer. We also have an email is wahichamber.info@gmail.com. You can come to 4470 Broadway on the second floor and stop by and say hello. Try to call me before. The phone
Information.
number is 212-928-6595.
Jackie, thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you for the work you do in the community. Super needed. Super important.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of Uptown Voices, brought to you by 181 Cabrini, your neighborhood bistro just steps away from the North Walk of the George Washington Bridge. Use the code Uptown Voices Season 1 for your discount. And to stay up to date on the latest in Uptown, you can follow Uptown Collective on Instagram, Facebook, and X. If you're watching Uptown Voices on YouTube, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and to give us a like. And don't forget, we also need financial contributions from listeners like you to produce, improve, and expand our content. To contribute, please scan the QR code on the screen. Until next time, this has been Uptown Voices.